Hey, welcome to Andrew's Things. I went freelance earlier this year and I finally updated my reel after about 5 years. I have a slight obsession with details, so I decided to use imageries of cells and genes in my reel opener to represent that aspect of myself. Full disclosure, I know very little about how cells actually look, so some people will recognize the recurring theme straight away, since there's also a cell structure shot in my YouTube opener. This shot was done frame by frame, and while I was happy with the results, I had set a deadline for myself, so I knew I couldn't spend as much time on it as I did before. I drew a rough frame of the cell structure in Procreate, and I played around with some turbulence displace and wave warps to somewhat match the music. I took the render into Rough Animator on the iPad, and I reduced it to 12 frames a second. I knew that I wanted the cells to split, so I drew some big bubbles and then introduced the cell walls halfway when a strong beat would hit it. Then back to After Effects it went. I extracted the white background, added a stroke layer to thicken the lines. It was a bit rough, so I blurred and crunched the border using the levels effect on the alpha channel. I think I even added turbulent displace and bulge effects to exaggerate the movement further. I mean, it's super convoluted, but then I took it into Procreate on the iPad. I felt like the mitosis wasn't clear enough, so I added some fleshy lines during when the division started happening. It immediately felt better and closer to what I wanted. I animated some blobs with lots of wiggles. I also set the color up to be edited through Essential Graphics if necessary, and it was. The animation is a lot simpler than it looks. It just cuts to multiple iterations of the same thing during the cell division, but I try to place the comp in areas where it kinda resembles the previous frames. For example, if you look at this orange dot on the left and this pink dot on the right. Other than that, I gave the cell walls a fleshy tone, added a dark purple layer for the shadows, and a pinkish layer to emulate the subsurface scattering. It's pretty subtle to not take away attention from the cell blobs. The next shot is a lot simpler and consists of 6 main parts: the middle, the bottom right, the bottom left, the top right, the top left, and lastly the text. Other than the genome sequence, everything else just wiggles, and they all have a purple drop shadow to fake some depth. The genome sequence has nulls along the path of a wavy line I made in Illustrator. These pill shapes are parented to set nulls, then I stuck 2 white wavy lines on the top and bottom of this comp to complete the look. They're just lines with a zigzag and wiggle path function. The text itself is super simple. It has the same blob comp from the previous shot, and I just added a scatter effect for more texture. The 2 shots combined look like this, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty proud of it. If I had to do this project all over again, I think I would firstly remake the version of the blob, so that when it first appears it looks more like round circles rather than these weirdly skewed ovals. I'd probably also add more of the purple shadow, like in the second shot, and add it to the blobs after the cell division. I think it would add a little bit more depth into the shot and make it look pretty cool. All in all, I felt like I learned heaps just from these 3 seconds of animation. I'm proud that I managed to make all these pieces work together. I'm proud that I managed to keep to my self-imposed deadline. Hopefully you've enjoyed seeing the behind the scenes to my reel opener, and you've enjoyed the super convoluted process to making 3 seconds of animation. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time.